Hey there, how's it going? Welcome to Water Songs Workshop, the place where I work on character ideas, try out art challenges, and try to make your day a little bit brighter. Welcome back to another installation of what I think Pokemon would look like if they were D&D characters. This is number 8? Yeah, this is number 8. So, really plugging along here. Um, I love this campaign idea of 3 gods being over a continent and there's a war between all 3 of them. My partner is the DM, and he does an amazing job at creating these stories and creating these characters, and I get to try and piece them together and add my own flair to them. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into these 5 new characters. Actually, there's going to be a special 6th one today, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But let's go ahead and jump in. The first one we're going to run into today is Colin Blackwood. He is a grave cleric who worships Morvothus, and he is inspired by Chandelure. Residing in the city of Birchhaven, Colin Blackwood is the high priest of Morvothus within Cronin. The god of the grave became enthralled with the drow after Colin was the first mortal to worship Morvothus that actively disagreed with the divine being over what the meaning of life is. Colin was still extremely new to priesthood when the party first encountered him during the replenishment of the grave ceremony. The first thing I remember about him was panicking because someone sold him the wrong incense that caused undead abominations to appear, and the party had to fight them off while Morvothus astral projected himself into the room and was like, alright, here's what you need to fix. So, in the end, we found out a lot about who is trying to mess up the gods and the world, the Burn Court, and we'll get a little bit more into that later in this video. But Colin is actually a big sweetheart. My character specifically, Valden, loves him. He thinks he's the coolest guy. He thinks that he is a straight shooter. He thinks that he is incredibly thoughtful. So, and I think them both being drow also gave a little bit of a connection to go there. But a lot of the Chandelure design we wanted this giant like handle piece on the back of his shoulders and in ceremonial robes. And I think I did a great job of capturing these colors in this poised pose. I think it fits really well for a grave cleric. Here's my finished interpretation of Chandelure as a grave cleric. Alright, next we're going to move on to Ulrich the Insane. He is a fathomless warlock that is based on Basculegion. Ulrich was once a high-ranking member of Gehenna's military and was tasked with holding the line from Gigor's invasion in the town of Quag Hollow. But Ulrich witnessed something within the swamps that surround the small settlement that drove him to the brink of insanity. He was removed as the leading warlord in Quag Hollow and given a more simple station as the warlord of Baybend to help his rattled mind mend and recover. So basically the first government cover-up, like, he went crazy because he witnessed something, and I think the party has actually seen what it was, but I don't think we've connected the dots yet. As far as I know, he used to be... We've only heard about this name, like, once or twice. I don't think we've actually heard the name. I think we just heard that there was a warlord that used to be in Quag Hollow, since that's where we currently are. And a lot of this design inspiration, since Basculegion was a Pokemon introduced in the Hisui region, we wanted him to have like that ancient Japanese feel with like the hakama and the long sword. And then we wanted his fathomless warlock energy to be like this more chaotic tentacle that comes out and slashes people. I gave him a crazy look in his eyes too to make him look even more insane. And I really think I captured what this guy's supposed to be about. But yeah, here's my finished interpretation of Basculegion as a fathomless warlock. The next character we're going to move on to is Ignara. She is a Draconic sorcerer, with her focus entirely in fire magic. Ignara hails from the village of Overburn and is one of King Gigor's favorite minor generals. Due to her loyalty and brutality on tracking down rogue mages within the kingdom of Claychester, she is the protege to one Pyrothas Emberspeaker. But Ignara has continued her quest to cleanse the region of Cronin of unsupervised magical use. If you'll remember, in Gigor's territory, magic is not fully allowed. Ignara being one of those people who use fire magic, and then also like tracking down mages shows her status, I guess. As far as McMortar's design, I wanted to make sure that I got that fire ganassi sort of flame off the shoulders. and I really wanted to make sure I captured the full power and aloofness that I feels like Magmortar has sometimes. And I really think I did a good job of like those colors like speaking for how hot-headed she can be. But yeah, here's the finished inspiration of Magmortar as a draconic sorcerer. The next character we're going to look at is Maravelli. She is a Tempest Cleric of Gehenna. This character was inspired entirely by Cloister. Maravelli hails from the city of Azurus as one of the head clerics in the House of the Divine Healing within the city. She was specifically selected by the God Queen herself amongst the rest of the clerics to join and aid her on her quest to free magic in Cronin. While a sweetheart can get you far in social circles, it seems to hinder Maravelli on the battlefield due to her incessant need to help people who are in trouble. So we all know that Gehenna is incredibly manipulative. She's not the best person in the world, and the fact that someone as sweet as Maravelli is this healer and this person who wants to help, and it was suddenly like taken in by Gehenna. I was like, hey, if you want this position, you're going to work for me. Because most Tempest clerics in this world specifically worship Ruvok, who is the god of the Tempest, the father of storms. That was who originally Cloister was the cleric to, but she was stolen by Gehenna, and now is kind of forced to do her bidding. So meeting her on the battlefield at some point is going to be kind of sad for us unless we can convince her to come with us. Design-wise, though, I wanted to make sure that I got this Sailor Moon vibe out of her. I really wanted those high boots, that tiny skirt, and I wanted to make sure she felt like a guardian of sorts, because Cloister is very protective Pokemon, just in general. So I think I did a great job on her. Like, I sketched this particular design out a long time, I think like 2 years ago, when I was... No, we don't need to be going into my backstory. That's fine. I think it was 2 years ago, and I think I sketched it out while I was at work. So I absolutely have loved this character design for a while, and I've wanted to use it. But yeah, here's the finished inspiration of Cloister as a Tempest Cleric. Alright, the next character we're going to talk about is Thareth, Hooded Fang. She is a dragon blood sorcerer who focuses on poison magic, and she is based on Arbok. Being born as an elf, Sareth was a part of a noble family in Gospel in the eastern part of Cronin. Her father was a skilled alchemist, her mother was never in Sareth's life, but was spoken about by her father to be a very powerful mage. Following in her mother's footsteps, Sareth unfortunately found one of her mother's magical tomes and tried to cast her first spell, but instead she completed a ritual that her mother could not complete, one that would twist the poor child into a monstrous pure-blood Yuan-Ti. This ritual has twisted Sareth's mind into studying feverishly, trying to enhance and strengthen the curse that changed her. Now, I did not know any of this till last night, because this is someone who has not even been spoken of in this world yet. However, I did draw this quite a while ago, and I may have planned like my character for the next campaign as her daughter, so we'll get more into that a lot later. But I loved this design so much. The pose, the nails, the movement of the tail, the hood, the pretty kimono top was all something that resonated so hard in me, and I think she looks poisonous and beautiful at the same time, and I'm so happy with this. I cannot wait to actually meet her in game and to fight her, because she looks like she would be a menace. But yeah, here is my unfinished interpretation of Arbok as a dragon blood sorcerer with poison magic. Alright, and for this last one, this one's kind of a special one. We've recently had to, unfortunately, let go of one of our players, and with two of our other players not always able to be there, we needed to find someone to fill in the gap, and so we invited another player to join us, and this is their character. This is Felix Ikoma. He's a Bard of Valor, and they're based on Simipour. Felix was born in the depths of the capital of the God Queen, born to the knowledgeable Ikoma family. In these depths, Felix would be born blind, the current belief being that he was born under a bad star, or that it was a sign of a previous life he had to atone for. Luckily, due to the magical nature of his home, he was given amenities to help him adapt to the flawed vision, though he was not the only son to be born under flawed conditions. Though his noble birth also allowed him the chance to live as comfortably as he could, Felix wants to catalog a story worth all of the patience and attention his family granted to him. He feels he owes it to them for how much pain and effort went into making sure he was well educated and taken care of. To this end, Felix is willing to sacrifice a lot in order to preserve his family, and moreover, the sacred Hall of Knowledge the Ikoma family has bled oceans to protect. His loyalty does not lie in specifically the God Queen, but the Ikoma family who serves them. I think you heard that Simipour is blind, and if you know the lore of Semi-Sage and Semi-Seer, you know it's see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. So one is mute, one's deaf. It's perfect triad of siblings. I love it so much. He wanted to have this bard quality of like writing down stories, but also being just great in a fight. And he uses this very special quill to help him quote unquote see around him. He doesn't see colors or can't really see illusion spells. He knows that they're there and they have like an amorphous shape. And he can also gauge distances. This pin also helps him like read text and just kind of like input it into his mind. So he has a way of being able to like learn and thrive on his own. When I designed him, I wanted to make sure that he had those blind eyes, and I wanted to make sure that he had this Simipour like feel, which I feel is a little bit gender fluid. He also specifically requested that I give him a red coat to represent his brother Semi-Seer, who I don't know the name of quite yet. But yeah, here's the finished interpretation of Simipour as a Bard of Valor. But I'm so happy with this design, and when I showed it to the player, he was ecstatic. So I'm happy with it. I've loved playing with him. He's been an incredible addition to this party. A very breath of fresh air. Like, what do you mean everything's changing? I love him so much. And that should be everyone. I had so much fun with all these designs. I think this is one of my favorite group of characters I've made so far, because I didn't have any issues with any of them. I think I did a great job on all of them, which is kind of rare for me. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate every interaction I get with these videos. It really helps my channel grow. I know I've asked this before, but I always love hearing people's thoughts on this. If you were in this campaign, what Pokemon would you base your PC off of? Let me know your species, your class, and anything else you want in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Also, if you'd like to support me further, I have a Patreon. I will put the link in the comments below. If you decide to join, you can help by voting on upcoming art challenges, like the one that's coming up very soon. You can help be a part of the community. I'll give you special shoutouts at the end of my videos. And at higher tiers, you get free monthly commissions. Yeah, I would love to have my community grow. I would love to meet all of you that support me. And this is just another way to help out with my goal of becoming a character concept artist one day. So thank you, thank you. I love you all. Speaking of Patreon members, though, I do have some shoutouts for my 3 Sparkle tier members. PillageTheVillage, timepixie, and Jackie. Thank you all so much for your continued support and love. I cannot tell you how much it means to me. But yeah, that should wrap everything up. I can't wait to see you all next time. I hope you enjoyed the video. So keep being fantastic, and until next time, I'll see you around.